Every relationship you've been in has followed a pattern. Not the same person exactly, but the same arc, the same tension, the same way it ends, or the same way it almost ends and you pull it back or push it away or stand frozen in between wanting more and wanting out. You've probably noticed the pattern. You might even have a theory about it. I picked the wrong people. I'm too needy. I'm too distant. I'm broken at love. But the pattern isn't about the people you pick. It's about the operating system running underneath every choice you make in a relationship. An operating system you didn't install, can't see, and have never been given the manual for. This is your attachment style, and it's not a personality trait. It's a program, a set of instructions written in childhood by the way your earliest bonds functioned, or didn't, and it's been running in the background of every relationship since, making decisions you think you're making but aren't, because you're not choosing these patterns. They're running automatically from code written before you could read. In this video, we're going through 9 subtle signs that your attachment operating system is quietly running your relationships. Keep count as we go. At the end, we'll tally what the pattern means, not as a diagnosis, but as a map. A quick frame. In your earliest years, you learned how love works by watching how it was given. Was it consistent or unpredictable? Was it warm or conditional? Did closeness feel safe or dangerous? Did distance feel like freedom or abandonment? The answers to those questions became the code, and the code runs everything. Who you're attracted to, how you behave when someone gets close, what you do when you feel rejected, how you handle conflict in intimacy, and what you believe you deserve. You don't see the code. You see the output, the pattern, the anxiety, the pulling away, the clinging, the testing. But the output always traces back to the same source, the operating system installed before you had a say in the matter. The 9 signs below are the outputs, and recognizing them is the first step toward seeing the code. Number 1. Different names, different faces, same dynamic. Your operating system has a type filter, not based on looks or interests, but on emotional availability. The system is calibrated to feel attraction toward people who match the original emotional blueprint. If love was inconsistent, you're drawn to inconsistent people. If love required earning, you're drawn to people who make you earn it. If love was distant, you're drawn to distance, not because you like it, but because your system recognizes it. The pattern isn't bad luck, it's the filter running. And the filter doesn't care whether the person is good for you. It cares whether the person feels familiar. And familiar in the language of attachment means, this is the love I was trained to recognize, even when it hurts. And here's the eerie part. When someone doesn't match the filter, when they're stable, available, and warm without conditions, your system doesn't register them as attractive. It registers them as boring or suspicious or too nice, because the code doesn't have a category for love that comes easy. If this one resonated, make a mental note. That's one. Number 2, they go quiet for a few hours and your nervous system goes to red alert. The operating system reads silence as a data, and the data it produces depends on the code. If your earliest bond was unstable, silence was a warning. It meant love was leaving, or anger was building, or you did something wrong. So the system learned to treat gaps in communication as emergencies, not inconveniences. Now, as an adult, a 3-hour gap in texting produces a physical response. Chest tightening, scenario building, the urge to check, to follow up, to test. Not because you're clingy, because your operating system was coded to interpret silence as threat. And the code doesn't distinguish between a parent who went cold and a partner who's in a meeting. That's 2. Number 3. The relationship is going well, genuinely well, and something in you starts to retreat. This is the proximity alarm. The operating system was coded in an environment where closeness came with a cost. Vulnerability led to hurt, openness led to disappointment, trust led to betrayal. So the system learned that safety lives at a distance, and when someone gets close enough to matter, the alarm fires. Too close, pull back, restore distance. You might sabotage. You might pick a fight about nothing. You might go quiet for days. You might suddenly notice flaws that didn't bother you before. The method varies, but the function is the same. The system is restoring the distance it was coded to maintain. Not because you don't want closeness, because your system doesn't trust what happens when closeness arrives. The body knows this before the mind does. Your chest tightens when they say something genuinely vulnerable. Your skin feels claustrophobic when they hold you too long. Your mind starts looking for exits in conversations that should feel safe. The proximity alarm doesn't speak in words. It speaks in the body's sudden need to create space. That's 3. Number 4. You create situations, consciously or not, that test whether someone will leave. The operating system needs proof before it trusts. Words aren't enough because words were unreliable in the original code. So the system designs tests, small withdrawals to see if they pursue, minor conflicts to see if they stay, emotional bids disguised as indifference to see if they notice. Each test is a question the system is asking. Will you still be here if I'm difficult? The cruelest part is that the testing often produces the exact result the system fears. You push, they retreat. You withdraw, they give space. And the system logs the result as confirmation. See, they were going to leave. When the truth is more complicated, they responded to the test, not to you. And the test was never fair. That's 4. Number 5. Available people feel boring. Unavailable people feel electric. The operating system was calibrated for pursuit, not for receiving. In the original code, love wasn't given freely. It had to be earned, chased, decoded. So the system learned to associate effort with attraction. When someone is easily available, the system doesn't recognize it as love because love never looked like that. It looked like reaching, like hoping, like almost but not quite. So you pass over the person who texts back immediately and feel drawn to the one who takes hours, not because the slow texter is better, because the operating system was built for intermittent reinforcement, the most addictive reward pattern in psychology. The uncertainty is the attraction, and it's running on code from a bond where love was never certain. Number 6. You have needs in the relationship, but expressing them feels like a risk you can't take. The operating system coded needs as dangerous. In the earliest bond, having needs produced one of 3 outcomes. They were ignored, they were punished, or they were used against you. So the system classified needs as vulnerabilities, information that could be weaponized if shared. And the safest strategy became, don't share. Now, in adult relationships, you hint instead of asking, you hope instead of stating, you silently resent instead of openly needing. And when the unspoken need goes unmet, you feel hurt, but you also feel vindicated. See, they don't care enough to notice. The system set up a scenario where the only way your needs could be met was by not expressing them. And that's a test no one can pass. That's 6. Number 7. There's no middle ground. You're either all in or all out. The operating system doesn't know the middle. In the original code, love was either total or absent. The parent was either warmly present or emotionally gone. There was no graduated scale, no close but separate, no connected but independent. So the system learned 2 positions. Merge, dissolve yourself into the other person so completely there's no gap for rejection to enter, or wall. Keep enough distance that the loss won't destroy you. You oscillate between the 2, or you default to one and can't access the other. Mergers lose themselves in every relationship, Wall builders never let anyone fully in. Both are the system's answer to the same question: how do I survive love? And neither answer includes the option most people take for granted: be close and be yourself at the same time. The middle ground, where intimacy and independence coexist, is a skill, and skills are learned. Yours was never taught because the original bond didn't model it. What you saw was all or nothing, and what you see is what the system builds. That's 7. Number 8. Tone, timing, word choice, pauses. You analyze all of it. This is hypervigilance in relationships. The operating system was coded in an environment where emotional climate changed without warning, so the system became a weather station, monitoring micro shifts in tone, facial expression, body language, and response time to predict the next emotional event before it arrives. This was survival in childhood. It's exhaustion in adulthood. Your partner says, "I'm fine," in a slightly flat tone, and you've already built 3 scenarios. They're upset with me, they're losing interest, I did something wrong. A friend takes an hour longer to reply, and you've drafted an internal essay about what the delay means. The analysis is constant, automatic, draining, and it produces more anxiety than clarity because you're not reading the current relationship. You're reading it through the code of the original one. Number 9, the sign that reveals the operating system itself. You're more comfortable with the fantasy of a relationship than the reality of one. The operating system can manage ideas. Ideas are controllable. The imagined partner doesn't trigger the proximity alarm. The imagined relationship doesn't require vulnerability. The imagined love doesn't carry the risk of being known and rejected for what's found. In the fantasy, you're loved perfectly. In reality, love is imperfect, unpredictable, and close enough to wound you. So you daydream about relationships that don't exist. You idealize people you barely know. You feel more romantic towards someone you can't have than someone who's standing right in front of you offering everything. And the distance between the fantasy and the reality is the exact distance the operating system needs to feel safe. Because real love requires being present, and the system was built by someone who learned that presence is where the danger lives. If you counted along, take a moment with your number. This isn't a test with a pass or fail. It's a map. 1 to 3. The operating system is present, but not dominant. You notice the patterns, but they don't run every interaction. The code is there, but you've developed enough counterbalance that it doesn't control the room. 4 to 6. The operating system is significantly shaping your relationships. You're not making fully free choices in love. Many of your decisions are being filtered through code you didn't write. The patterns are consistent, and the costs are real, even if you've learned to manage them. 7 to 9. The operating system is running the show. The patterns aren't occasional. They're structural. Your relationships are being built on top of code from your earliest bonds, and the code is writing the architecture. This doesn't mean you're broken. It means the system is powerful and unexamined, and examining it is the beginning of updating it. Regardless of your number, the most important thing is this: the operating system is not you. It's something that was installed in you, and software that was installed can be examined, understood, and over time rewritten. You don't rewrite the code by forcing yourself to behave differently. You rewrite it by understanding why the code was written in the first place. What was it protecting you from? What was the original environment that made this code necessary? And is that environment still the one you're in? Usually, it's not. Usually, you're running 2026 relationships on code from 2002. And the update isn't a betrayal of the system that kept you safe. It's a recognition that the system can evolve because you already have. You didn't choose these patterns. They were written into you by the earliest version of love you knew. and they've been running on autopilot ever since, making relationship decisions from a code base that was designed for survival, not for connection. But here's what the operating system doesn't know. You're not in the original environment anymore. The rules it was built for may no longer apply, and the first step toward updating the code isn't a dramatic overhaul. It's seeing it, noticing the moment the pattern fires and saying, "That's the system, not me." That sentence, said quietly, in the middle of a pattern you've run 100 times, is the most powerful line of code you can write. Because every time you see the system, you weaken its automatic control by 1 degree. And 1 degree, repeated over months and years, rewrites the program. Not with perfection, with awareness. And awareness in attachment is everything. At Inner Lens, we look at the code nobody told you was running. If this video maps something for you, the next one goes deeper into one specific pattern. The signs of a disorganized attachment style. When the system wants closeness and fears it at the same time, it's right here.